Hi.
This video is part of a build log series. I'm building motorized shoes that you'll wear while you play a virtual reality game that keep you in the same spot as you walk, like a treadmill, allowing you to walk infinitely in the game. For now, I call them VR shoes or omni shoes. Last time I showed this design and explained why I'm using spheres. And ta-da! I made it. So I immediately noticed a problem when I tried to put my body weight on this thing. It bends like this a lot. You can see it's bending right here, and the whole thing is arcing. This thing will never roll. So I set off to solve this problem. My first thought was to make it so that this large bolt here, it couldn't bend at a diagonal angle, that it would always have to remain horizontal in parallel with the platform. I updated the design accordingly like this. I tried to reinforce the sides and the bolt so that it would always have to remain parallel with the platform, but I printed this out and tried it, but it didn't work. This rod is still bent in the middle, and even though I tried to reinforce it by adding more bearings, basically, it didn't really make it so that the bolt was a little bit, it was a little bit less wiggly. You know, it couldn't move as much, but it wasn't going to cut it. Next, I tried reinforcing the rods. So I printed out a plastic piece, as you can see here, that would go around the four rods so that the rods couldn't bend as they were. I ended up not going with this approach because I didn't trust that this little plastic piece would really hold up against my weight over the long term and the weight of maybe someone heavier than me. And it wouldn't help with making this part, so helping the end here so that it didn't wiggle. So my next thought, and the thing that actually ended up working, was what if I could redistribute the load across the whole platform? So what I mean by that is when I put my weight on this thing, all that weight is being transferred to the sides here, and the sides are being pushed down as a result, but the middle is being pushed up. What if instead of all of the weight going to the sides supporting all of the weight, the whole thing could support the weight. So the weight could be redistributed from not for not just the sides, but all along this thing. So what if it could share the load?
Share the load, the load, the load.
What I ended up doing was this. I added these things which I call idler supports to all along the length of the platform so that as you put your weight on this, as I put my weight on this, if the sides start going down, in the middle, the middle is also going to be pushed down because of these idler supports. And all they are is a bearing in the platform. Just have them distributed along the length so that if any part of this assembly here gets pushed down, all the other parts get pushed down as well. Here's what it looks like printed out. One other thing to note is that each of these omnispheres, I originally printed out a TPU flexible filament, but I wanted to completely eliminate any give, any play in this assembly, so I printed them out of PETG so that they would be much more rigid. And I used 100% infill for those spheres, so they shouldn't move at all. They shouldn't flatten at all under the weight. So here I am actually testing this thing out. As you can see, it doesn't bend anymore. Those idler supports keep everything aligned pretty well. It might bend up quite a little bit, but there's actually a little tweak that I need to do. These aren't low enough in the middle. That's what it looks like. So a vast improvement over what it was before. There are still a few things to tweak on this design. You can see that there's some space between the bearing and the disc. I don't want that space to be there. And then this whole thing can wiggle a bit like that. So this bearing can actually pop out. And then I need to make sure that this can't do that, can't wiggle. Just some tweaks to get everything aligned properly, but No major problems. That's it for this video. Next time I want to make more of these, maybe 3 or 4, and then put them on a larger platform and test it out, ride it kind of like a skateboard, see if it can handle my weight, see if it's smooth, not bumpy, and then move on to actually powering this thing. If you like the video and feel like it, leave a like and subscribe. Thanks.